What's good, YouTube? It's your main man, AB the Hero, back again with another video. Today, we got a quick update on the Kyrie Irving situation. A lot of prominent figures are starting to step in and add their voices to the conversation. Let's talk about it.
Bees! AB the Hero, back at it, baby.
So recently we got a few updates. I'm gonna show you some things over here on the Shade Room. Your boy Phil Knight, co-founder of Nike. I don't think he's the CEO currently, but for some reason he was doing press and they asked him about the Kyrie Irving situation, and he had a few things to say here. Let's take a listen.
Kyrie stepped over the line. It's kind of that simple. And so he made some statements that we just can't abide by, and that's where we ended the relationship. And yeah, I was fine with that.
So I think what we can point out here, number one, is that part of the reason why Kyrie is currently in the trouble is not because he actually made some statements or said some things. It's actually what he didn't say, according to most of these entities who feel like he should have probably apologized in a more flattering way. And that is the reason why some of the action that has been taken was taken. I don't really like what Phil had to say, and there's a few folks who responded to that as well. Your boy Jaylen Brown, who is a Boston Celtics player, also spent some time on the court with Kyrie. He came out and he retweeted some things in support, basically challenging Nike now on all of a sudden trying to be an ethical company, right? That's what Jaylen had to say. That prompted some other things from your boy LeBron James, who we talked about before, who hadn't necessarily spoken up yet on the issue. Well, he did, but he did it in kind of condemning way. He didn't take it as far as Shaq and some other folks, but he definitely made it seem like he was distancing himself from Kyrie. Here, though, we got LeBron giving a different take. I told you guys that I don't believe in sharing hurtful information, and I'll continue to be that way. But Kyrie apologized, and he should be able to play. That's what I think. It's that simple. Help him learn, but he should be playing. What he's asked to do to get back on the floor, I think it's excessive in my honest opinion. He's not the person that's being portrayed of him. Anyways, back to my rehab session. And I think that that's what folks wanted to hear from LeBron initially, right? He made a point to really speak on how Kyrie's actions could be hurtful to people, but he didn't take the opportunity to stand up for Kyrie's character, which would have been really, really important for him at the time because, you know, everybody kind of respects and values LeBron's opinion across the board. Now we go over here, your boy Jay Williams, he gave a nice little soliloquy message in regards to Kyrie Irving and all of the stuff that he had to say, and that we'll listen to a bit of it here.
Regardless of what color, what creed, what race you are, I look at people as human beings. I think that's important. But life is always about taking a stand and holding principles. So I want to explain what I feel like my stance is as a black male in this world, okay? And conversations that I've had with my brothers and sisters in the black community. And I want you guys to empathize with it and hear me on it. So when I hear what Kyrie Irving has to go through in order to be reinstated, I'm appalled. I'm appalled. And let me give you examples of how I feel like we don't have the same energy and hold other people who have dealt with racial tropes accountable. So when Sarah Silverman does blackface, or when Don Imus says nappy-headed hose, or when Howard Stern calls somebody the N-word in the skit, or when Brett Favre takes money from the state of Mississippi, we don't ask them to get sensitivity training. We don't ask them to donate $500,000. We don't ask them to meet with the Black National Caucus. They apologize, and then, you know what? The rest of the world moves on. But what I feel like is happening here, and that's how in the black community, like we've been told that's how the process works, right? Think about that, Bert. That's how the process works. Oh, somebody does a blackface. Oh, it was a misunderstanding. We got it. Okay. You know, is that person really racist? Probably not. Was it ignorant? Probably so. Okay. We understand it. We move forward. We don't like it. We would love to hold them accountable. But society and having a lot of black people in positions of power, we don't have the governability to do that. But what we feel like happens with Kyrie is even after an apology, it's not enough. We feel like there needs to be more. And a lot of people I've spoken to over the last couple of days talk about this thing. Older mentors of mine talk about buck breaking. So we talk about tropes. This is something that we feel like in the black community that happened way back in the day, where if there was a slave that was defiant, right, he got broken in front of everybody in order to show that he was not in a position of power. And that at the end of the day, he had to do what he was told to do because that's what was mandated of him. And there's a bigger situation going on. What's happening with Kyrie Irving? If the Nets don't want him to be there, just say you don't want him to be there. But we should hold everybody accountable, even owners of teams accountable with things that are happening in other countries, i.e. China and Uyghurs and the Muslim genocide that is occurring that we hear Enes Kanter talk about. But we don't keep the same energy for everybody. We pick and choose what conversational points we want to make more polarizing. And I might lose my job. I might lose deal opportunities in the future for speaking out about even the platforms that continue to promote and profit a movie that is considered anti-Semitic to billions of people. They don't have to be accountable. Who is accountable? But we're going to put everything on the shoulders of Kyrie Irving, who, even though he said, I cannot be anti-Semitic because if I know where I came from, stating that he's one of the 4 lost tribes. He's saying that blacks and Jews come from the same entity, the same thing. But we don't want to understand nuance. We want to be triggered by words, and we like fire, and we like things that are, going viral on social media, and everybody has some kind of hot take, and we're calling people idiots, and we're calling people names because that's what we do. We just destroy each other. I ain't going to destroy each other, man. I'm not going to do that. Is Kyrie Irving anti-Semitic? Hell no. Could he have gone about it maybe a different way? That's what I would have advised him to do. But I'm not going to let you guys sit out here and make this dude out to be like he is a villain, like he is a bad person. He is looking to explore his heritage. Now, you can crucify me if you want. I don't give a damn anymore. It's time for people to start speaking out with nuance and speaking out on the principles they stand for. That's all I'll say.
Jay Williams giving that game. One of the things that I want to point out too is in part of his conversation, it was something that came up a while back. I was having a discussion with some of the folks on the channel here, and they brought up the Sarver situation, which was the Phoenix Suns coach, and then the guy over the Clippers. I can't remember his name, the former owner. And one of the things that was so interesting to me is when you look at those reports of what it actually took to get those people removed. It wasn't a one-time incident. It wasn't a tweet. It wasn't a such and such. It was years of misconduct. It was historical records of things that they had done to people that took them folks eventually standing up and saying, all right, bro, we got to get you up out of here. So it's so interesting to see so many people start pulling away from guys like Kyrie Irving, with history of actually doing good things for people, what he did for the WNBA during the pandemic, a lot of those things. And so it only took a few it only took a tweet in order to get him up out of the paint for a lot of people, which to me, I think is a misstep and actually causing a more harsh situation than necessary. Also, folks who jumped into the conversation, my man Floyd Mayweather, he had a few things to say on it here. We'll watch that as well. Let's do it.
In 2016, when you represented America, when you represented the red, white, and
See
blue.
if I can get that back for y'all.
Kyrie, what's up? I know you're going through a lot. We had a chance to hang out in 2016 when you represented America, when you represented the red, white, and blue. you only want to be treated fair. I was gonna post something on one of my social media pages, but I decided to do it the old school way and read it out to you because you're a great person, great father, great athlete, and you believe what you believe. America is the land of the free. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and supposedly freedom to choose. Never be controlled by money. I respect you for having some integrity and being your own man. A free mind makes its own choices. An enslaved mind follows the crowd. Stand for something or fall for anything. One man can lead a revolution to stand up and fight for what's right. One choice, one word, one action can change the world. It's crazy how people hate you for being a leader. I hope your actions encourage many others to stand up and say enough is enough. Respect to you, Kyrie, and power to the people.
Floyd Mayweather with a message. One of the things that I really want to give Floyd his flowers for is he has been somebody who consistently has stood up in the black community when black celebrities or black folks, I would call them elites or whatever, are getting into these situations where they're controversial. Floyd is there, got your back. If that's bread, you remember with Antonio Brown, he damn near was going back his salary. If you gave him 20 million and he fumbled the bag, Floyd was going to pay the tab on it. So I don't know. I think that Floyd is doing a lot of good in trying to be a pillar in the community. Now, obviously, I think that comes with some mentorship on the back end as you stand out for people who are just making who are making controversial decisions. However, I think it's important that folks stick together and don't just disband and leave people in the dust. We also got a clip here from Nick Cannon, who dropped or is dropping a new podcast, I believe.
Arguably say, I know Kyrie Irving is not anti-Semitic.
When given the chance to say, are you anti-Semitic or not, he didn't say, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. At the press conference, tell us about that movie, why he did. He said, stop dehumanizing me. And the movie is saying white Jews invented the Holocaust and 6 million Jews didn't get killed. Okay, I know that isn't right, because there's a gigantic historical record. Jewish people know when you dehumanize us this way, we know what's around the corner.
So in that same statement as those are the tropes that dehumanize Jewish people, the same buck breaking.
What's that? I don't really know what that means, to be perfectly honest.
The slave masters would bring the buck, the one that gets out of line. So all the other slaves would see lash after lash, show them the power to set an example. This is what you must do to fall in line. So when we see the 6 things that Kyrie must do to get his job back, right, that's dehumanizing.
So you got Nick Cannon, who I feel like out of most celebrities who has been through this, right? So I would imagine that from his time and what he had going on previously, probably had some connections and some people he felt like it would be easy to talk to and get on this issue. There is another clip of this video that's out, and it seems like you watch this one and you think like my man here might be picking up some stuff and being able to walk away with it. But the next clip that they showed was definitely not as I would say not as, it didn't seem as receptive from my man over here as the other one did. So it's a lot of stuff happening right now in this world around the Kyrie Irving situation. But I do feel like it has what I would say, I think, opened my eyes to a few different things, right? I think that there's oftentimes these situations that are happening in the community and that people of influence have to speak on. I think that even here on YouTube and this platform is that typically some things happen and I just be like, bro, I'm out of it. I don't even want to such and such. I don't want to speak on it. I don't want to give light to it. I don't want to do whatever. And I realized that oftentimes when you don't address lies, they become the truth in people's eyes, right? And when you are a person of influence and you take the opportunity to take the easy road and not speak onto something, then like you're hanging folks out to dry. You actually empower people who have misinformation, false messages, and who may be having more nefarious ideals or strategies in play. And so you have to say something about it, or else you're creating a dynamic that is going to be hard to come back from. As we look at what happened from the Kanye West situation to the Kyrie Irving situation, now the Kanye West situation was a little bit more straightforward, right? It was a little bit more understanding how people could be upset about some of the things that he was saying, even though a lot of the things that he was saying was being misinterpreted. But there was a lot of doubling down, and then escalation of those things from him. And I think that the way that people were allowed to handle Kanye West set a blueprint for the Kyrie Irving situation, which is not even of the same caliber. But you look at it and you see people take the same action. So you see Adidas dropping Kanye West, and then you see Nike go ahead and then drop or basically drop Kyrie Irving, following the same suit for two different actions that are nowhere in the same caliber. I will say that it is also funny to me, and this will be the final point, and we'll wrap this video up. I was getting into some conversation yesterday on this Kyrie Irving situation over there on the Twitters, and it was interesting to hear some of the takes that people had in regards to this, as far as comparing what comparing what Kyrie Irving did / didn't say to what was going on with Donald Sarver. I think it's not Donald Sarver, Richard Sarver. Sarver, the Phoenix Suns owner, and then comparing that even to I think the I can't remember the name, the Clippers owner, right? So making it seem like those things were in the same boat, or then giving Kyrie Irving for credit for the prominence or the amount of discoverability that's happening with that documentary now, in absolving the news and platforms who have repeatedly talked about it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Most of us wouldn't know a few things, right? Most of us wouldn't know what was in the contents of that documentary had not it been defined in some articles, right? Most of us wouldn't even have known that it existed had not the media continued to cover that day in and day out, even after the tweet was taken down. And so folks can give Kyrie credit for the tweet and promoting the tweet, but if you really look at how much promotion happened from the media, you would really be appalled if this thing was as bad as people said it is. I'm not sure. I have not watched it yet, but if it's that bad, the amount of promotion that happened from the media should be like should be appalling to people, right? Because in show business, most people will tell you that all press is good press. And so if you're a media outlet and you're continually posting about this documentary, whether or not you're trying to discourage people from watching it or not, we all know that in today's information age, you're not doing anything but telling people to go get you some. And from this graph here shared by your boy Flight Mike, you can see that the interest level spiked on this documentary. But it is what it is. It's your main man, AB the Hero. We finna get up out of here. I appreciate y'all. Peace.